overwhelm into manageable and practical tools for everyday use.
All right, guys, welcome back. Catch me on the exhale. If you guys were around, we just our last episode, I think, was about some more books and stuff. This time we're going to change directions big time. So on this episode, we are going to talk about changing careers after 40. Bum, bum, bum. So it definitely fits into our self-care discussion, because I think there's a lot of people out there who get to this point in their lives, so where what they've been doing for a number of years is not lighting the fire anymore, or perhaps a path has changed enough in your career that you're not where you thought you would be, or you took a job that kind of changed the path that made it a little different than what you had expected. But it is an interesting thing that happens to a lot of people, apparently, around the age of 40. Sometimes it happens earlier, sometimes it happens later, but a couple of things that I found out about this was that the average person as of 2019 changes jobs 12 times in their lifetime. Yeah. 12.
Well, that makes sense, because you're not saying careers and you're not saying like
jobs. I'm saying jobs. So think about how many jobs you had in your lifetime.
I've had a shit ton, from waitressing to working in a
pharmaceuticals. You worked as
bed and breakfast. Yeah.
You worked as an executive assistant, but then you also worked in sales. You worked in, you changed completely in that you're now in social work. So like you have changed careers a number of times, but you've also changed jobs within your careers, within a segmented career. But anyway, the average person
makes sense.
changes jobs 12 times throughout their lifetime. And the average employee stays with their employer for only 4 years.
That's sad.
Yeah, I mean,
but it
it's
makes
sad.
Sense.
It's sad for a number of reasons. I mean, I guess, some of it has to do with the fact that, there's people that are moving up, right? So they go to take a job and then they are looking for another job that is probably better, or maybe they're relocating, or they're, like there's a million things. But I mean, if you think about it, that's so like when people, I guess I always thought like somebody retires after 25 years with the company and everybody like, applauds them, like in, it's a real, because it really is. That's an amazing feat to stay with the same company or the same, even in the same industry for 25 years.
I feel like there's not that job security anymore. Like companies, corporations aren't.
There's a lot of fluctuation within companies, and I don't know. I mean, I also think that there's more opportunity too, which I wish, like I like to look at the positive side of it, like somebody like your dad went into something years and years and years ago, and he was in that industry for a long time.
Yeah.
And he stayed in that industry. Like, I mean, he progressively climbed through that industry, but he's, you know what I mean? Like what was, and I think, I believe that there's a different sort of generational thing too, that somebody in our parents' generation, the likelihood of them leaving a job or leaving a career to go, change careers was much less likely, because there was so much more reliance upon knowing the skill set of that job, understanding the skill set of that job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's part of it too. So it's interesting as well that nearly half of American workers have made a career switch, a dramatic career switch, throughout the course of their working life. Half. That's pretty crazy.
That's a big number.
I mean, you've made a dramatic career switch.
Yeah.
So, and you're one and I'm two. So half of us is you.
Yes. This
there
is
you
true.
go. Right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of discussion about making a career change. So this came up because of me. I think I was the one who was like, I'm really pushing this envelope here. Being in education now, just under 20 years, and really considering making a career switch, changing, getting out of education altogether, having gotten, a real estate license and done some other things to see if I could open up some doors. You know, I used to really love teaching. Now I love the part of teaching that I do in the classroom with the kids. There's a lot of other stuff that is not as lovable anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But so anyway, so that's where this is where this sort of journey has gone. And as I hope everybody has gotten to know us over time, they know that I'm the one who's looking for concrete numbers and what do the statistics say and what's the likelihood and what's the realistic vision of this. And typically people have the same response to career change as I have been having. And so the response is, or reasons to not change careers at 40 or older, is that you have too many responsibilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So by this age, typically you have financial responsibilities, you have families that you are supporting, you have commitments that you've made that, are long-term, that you can't just be like, nah, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not going to, contribute to the household like I used to, or I'm going to just up and change how I'm contributing to the household. So that's one reason that people say, they don't want to make a career change. Another is that you just don't know what you're going to do. Right. I think some people are driven by having a goal of what they want to do. And I would say that I am one of those people who doesn't really know. Like I thought I had found some pathways that I really enjoyed. And then the more I'm exploring things, the more I'm realizing that, it's not exactly what I wanted or what I was thinking it was going to be. And the interesting thing is that, I'm lucky, right? It's like first world problems, is that I still have a job in the midst of all this, right? So I still have a career that I'm working at. So obviously, exploration of other potential careers is slower and more methodical, I guess, than it is than it sounds, right? It's not like, oh, I'm changing careers and in the next 3 weeks I'm giving my 2 weeks.
There's no urgency
right?
to it. You can
Yeah.
be methodical about it. You can be
Yeah.
slow and well thought out. And I think you have several ideas. You're right. You just haven't planted your feet just yet or figured out how to combine.
Yeah. The stuff that I do like.
Right. Which is hard because you could probably combine several of them, if not all of them, to make one big, but it would take a lot of creativity to make it work.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the big thing for me when I think about changing careers is that I don't want to let anybody down, like I've been unhappy in certain things about my current career that it's become so evident in my personal life, like I come home and I like vent and poor Mark's like, he's like, whoa, like he's looking at me sometimes like, maybe it's time to just, hang it up, like move on. We have to, so what? Go work at stocking shelves at Walmart. Like we'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Like just, so that's another thing that I have kind of struggled with, was kind of moving through all the stages of, first of all, removing a lot of the ancillary issues that exist in my career. So, like the outside additional things that I'm doing, that potentially I don't, that I really don't need to do. And I think if I got rid of those things, that it would alleviate some of the stress, so that, the day-to-day going in and teaching, I could be more focused on the stuff that I do like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I could really be more honed in on, the time that I spent with the kids. Cause that's the part that I really, really enjoy.
Yeah.
And really at some point just saying, that there are things that I have to just let go of, like the things that I can't control, just saying to myself, like, okay, this is not something you can control. You have to just let it go. And you just got to move on from it, So those are that's a way that I've kind of been addressing the exist within the current career, still taking time to explore kind of what's going on outside of the classroom.
And you can't, the one thing you can't control is any sort of disappointment that anybody's going to feel regarding you making a career move, because ultimately you can live this way to appease everybody else for the rest of your life, but then you're going to be living in this state and this mood with these feelings for the rest of your life.
Well, here's the other thing that I think about. So, I'm 43 and my dad was 55 when he died.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Yeah.
Right. So like you think about, you start to put into perspective, like if I only have this much time left, not that I mean, obviously
not that you go there and you,
yeah. Like the risk factors are different, right? My dad was a smoker forever and whatever. So, but again, it's still something that I'm like, wait a minute, like, this many years. And like, what if something were to happen? Should you spend your time doing things that you're not really enjoying? I think I think some people would probably call me a wimp because they'd be like, just buck up, stop it. Don't be ridiculous,
Well, of course they would. So let them go be miserable.
They're typically the people that are miserable. Anyway,
they can buck up. Mama Bear says they could pull up their little girly pants.
Mama Bear. The other thing though that I was reading about, because I really am. This is a big deal, right? It's a big process. It's a big decision to make. So the other thing that I've found that a lot of people argue is the reason to not change careers at this age is because of all that I've invested in this career. Like everybody that I talked to was like, but you've been doing this for so long, like you have this many years and the pension and the this and the that. And listen, I get it. I'm not an idiot, right? Like I wasn't born yesterday. I understand what the things that like the cut and run is, I understand the things that are going to be lost, but I also understand that at some point you have to weigh the quality of your existence with, the day-to-day, within the day-to-day, with the things that you're going to quote unquote lose. Right. So evidently it's called the sunken cost fallacy, that there is this investment that you have made into your career. And, that's what you're going to lose because you leave. Right. But like, let's be honest, that's a terrible way to make a choice. Right. It's like, I've been with my husband and now this is me giving you a scenario, but I've been with my husband for 10 years and, even though he beats me, I've been with him for 10 years. Like I can't give up 10 years of my life because he beats me. Really? Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, come on. It's the same argument, right?
Yeah.
It's just the financial version of that argument.
And let's be real here. If you're doing something that you enjoy, you're gonna work that much. Like if you're doing something for you and it's your own thing, say it's your own business, right? You're gonna bust your ass to make that business successful. You're gonna work that much harder because you're feeling fulfilled. You're gonna come home in a better mood. For your kids. It's gonna be a better place all around, a better environment.
Exactly.
So there's no pension amount that can replace or that can compensate for the fact that they're going to pay you to show up every day and be miserable versus you busting your ass doing what you love. And it's not even considered a job because you're thriving, right? And you're a better human for yourself and everybody around you.
Right. I think the big thing that we get to, and I've said it myself, I have definitely said it myself, is I'm too far in to get out, you know?
Yeah.
And that's like the worst way to live. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you're never too far. You're never too
Never.
far. Never. And yes, the combination of those things, like having responsibilities, not knowing what you would do, like, having invested time in your career, that combination seems daunting, but I can be honest with you, like, I've been looking into this. It's got to be over a year now that I've been like experimenting with things, and have been thinking about how to address some of the things that I don't like
Mm-hmm.
about my current career, and dealing with the things that I do, and giving up some of those things has started to alleviate some of the frustration that I have. So recently I've been thinking to myself, well, maybe I could do this for another handful of years, get to a certain point, and in the meantime, continue to investigate options so that I'm not just dropping the ball on my, for my family in any way, emotionally or financially, that I can get rid of enough of the things that weigh me down so that I
Mm-hmm.
can, still function and seek out other options. I'm drinking carbonated beverages.
Yeah. Enough with those. And I've
I
got like
know,
a
right?
dry throat over here. I'm choking, trying to drink my water and stay hydrated.
Oh boy.
Mm,
So it's been an interesting venture so far. This
yeah.
is something that I hope this is one of those ones that I hope we can do like a follow-up on, because I think um this is a path that is going to sort of continue, over time. And I
Absolutely.
think I would love to hear from people. If anybody has, experiences with this and career change or shift, even if you're within the same industry and maybe you have changed, your focus in that industry or anything. Cause I'm really interested in it. And I think there are a lot of people out there that are working in jobs that are not fulfilling them in a lot of ways, that they
Mm-hmm.
don't get fired up about. Now, listen, I'm not deluded enough to think that, I should be getting jacked up and like worked up every time I go to go to work. Like, I know there are some days where, it's not going to be like that, but I also think that, you know, I don't want to sit in my car and cry in my car and not want to go to work. You know what I mean? Like that's not the path to take either.
Mm-mm.
Um, so I would love to hear from, a little bit of feedback from others and see how they are, dealing with a new career, or if they're thinking about it, or reinventing yourself professionally at
Yeah, this
at
is a great topic.
at
Uh,
our age, quote unquote.
It's a good age to be reinventing yourself.
There you go, right?
It is.
So I do want to share a couple of things that I found for a pretty interesting article that I found online from a career coach. And there was a number of steps that she basically suggested. One is, if you are thinking about starting a new career, or if it's something that you potentially, maybe somebody had mentioned to you because you're not enjoying your current career. Step one is decide if you are actually no longer engaged, because people who are not engaged, if you're unhappy, you're looking for something different, you ultimately have to be resolved about finding something else to do, like you have to ultimately get to that point. And she basically says that when you decide that, she says, make it official. Like, set a date, say to yourself, okay, today is January 26th. And as of today, I'm going to start transitioning my career. And that's when you start to do your research, gather information about, step two, gathering information about other options you have, and, imagining yourself, another version of yourself. Like, what identity do you see? What types of what types of careers could you see yourself doing? What do you think your greatest strengths are? What are you passionate about? What drives you? Like, ask yourself all those questions. How would you define success? Right? All these things that start to feel like the path towards enlightenment, I guess. I don't know. Something to start narrowing down that investigation of what potentially you could do. I mean, maybe you already know. Maybe you're somebody who, if I left this career, I would go to do X, Y, and Z. I would be a cantaloupe farmer. I don't know. Like maybe you have a plan. I don't know. I do not. I am not that person. And then once you do that, once you ask yourself those questions and start to figure out more, identify what it is that is possible. What are some of the things that you could do with those things that you now have found out about yourself? And then start to pare it down to where you can engage in those careers without leaving your current career. So, like a side hustle or a freelance type of gig, if you want to start your own business, do it on a part-time basis first, so that you establish yourself and figure out what it is that you're trying to do. And then to bridge between those two things, between the current career and the new career, then you start to patch in more of the resources that you have developed over time and that you have found, so that you can get yourself to a point financially where you can be like, I'm out. Bye-bye. It seems like a real process to me, and it seems like something totally valuable. But I'm in like Flynn.
I like that idea of identifying yourself, because it's like you identifying when you are developing your business, you're developing like what your clientele looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like every aspect about that client. So instead of doing that for a client, you're doing that for you.
Right. And figure out what the new you, I guess you could say, looks like. What is it like? Where would you be? What would you be doing?
Yeah. Did you ever read, I just pulled down the book because she has, yes, I have the book because I actually bought it because she's got a bunch of stuff in here too.
I'm 100% shocked.
Yeah. Well, I didn't read the book. I had listened to the book, but I bought the book because
for a resource. I understand.
Yeah.
So you can flip through and find the stuff that you remember hearing that you wanted to look at. You look really demented when you turn your head sideways. The bare head like gets wanky. Look, say, oh gosh.
Does my when I blink, do the ears move?
Yes, I think that's what it is.
It's very weird because I noticed something moves.
Okay. Watch, I'll be a piggy and I'll turn my head.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Feel the nose gets all funky.
Uh-huh. It's like flat, but your ears kind of stay.
Weird.
All right. So.
Oh yeah. Marie Forleo. Yep. Everything is figure outable.
Did you read it? You have it?
I did not read it, but I've heard her on, I've been listening to her podcast.
Mm-hmm. I have the book. So if you want to.
I do. Cause I need it to be figure outable for me.
Yeah. She like breaks it down it's very easy. Like
step by step.
Yeah. And she has prompts like to prompts to ask yourself, oh, the bunny doesn't like your carbonated beverage.
No, it gets all funky.
Yeah. It goes above the glass. Like,
oh, it does? It's trying to find my nose.
Yeah, see?
Freaks out. He's like, what the hell's going on? All right, sorry. Go ahead.
But
so everything is figure outable.
In there. Okay. She's got prompts in there that you can answer when you're trying to figure everything out. So it's a great book. And especially if you're trying to really like hone in on stuff. So I'll keep the book out for when we see each other.
I feel like that's going to be a long time. I feel like we haven't seen each other in a long time. So
we need to do like a live recording.
Yeah, we do.
Bit of a
Zoom
Zoom
things for the
recording.
birds.
I know. Although I like the
Yeah, the
thingies.
filters, right?
Yeah. I wish there was a raccoon one.
I know. We could
That
both
would
be
be funny.
raccoons.
Yeah. We could be the baby raccoons that are born from the fighting raccoons that were outside in the last episode.
How about
But
it?
anyway, yes. So I think it's
So we're changing careers after the age of 40, and I would love to hear a response. Like I said, reach out to us on social media if you're somebody who has or is thinking about changing careers. Let us know, because we would love to hear about it. So everything is figure outable is something that I want to read. So that I'm going to put that one on the list. And we will definitely do a follow-up on this, because I think this is one of those ones that we should probably 6 months from now, I'll let you know how it's going.
Yeah, do an update.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely think you're gonna figure it out. You're just honing it in right now.
Yeah, like I said, I got time. I'm not.
You do.
I don't need to change jobs next week. I'm lucky that I have a good job, but we'll see. Let's see what happens.
Yes.
So
and we'll hear from everybody listening. So
yeah, absolutely. I can't wait. So guys, that's it. Oh, I did want to tell you though. I did want to bring up one other statistic that I totally forgot about before. There was an Indeed survey done in 2019, like the job finder Indeed, that said that 58% of the survey respondents said that they were willing to take a pay cut if they could change industries completely. That's huge. So for job seekers would take a pay cut. Almost 60% would take a pay cut if they could change industries completely. So that's an interesting statistic.
That is,
especially with, what has happened in the last two years, with the great resignation, so to speak, that we're hearing about. So
yeah.
Anywho,
great stats.
Yeah. So that's it, guys. I think we're at the end of our episode. And if you guys have any interesting stories to share, reach out. Can't wait to hear about it.
You'll find our email and all our contact information in the show notes.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Deuces.